They called it the rocket that couldn't land. After their January failure, critics wondered if Blue Origin would ever catch up. Then came November 13th. And in 7 breathtaking minutes, Jeff Bezos' team silenced every doubter. For years, SpaceX dominated while Blue Origin watched from the sidelines. But on November 13th, Jeff Bezos' team finally proved they belong in this race. And they did it with a landing so perfect, even Elon Musk would have to tip his hat. I am Marcel, and what you are about to see is the moment that changed the space race forever. Let's set the stage. November 13th, 2025. Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, Launch Complex 36. The same historic pad that launched over 140 missions during the space race, including the Pioneer and Mariner missions that explored our solar system. Now, it is Blue Origin's turn. The mission was to launch NASA's ESCAPADE. 2 identical spacecraft bound for Mars will study how our neighboring planet lost its atmosphere billions of years ago. These are not massive rovers like Curiosity or Perseverance. These are budget-conscious orbiters, costing under $80 million, built by Rocket Lab for the University of California, Berkeley. But here is what made this launch truly escapade. Blue Origin had to prove their massive New Glenn rocket could do what SpaceX has been doing for years, land its first stage booster back on Earth for reuse, and they had failed before. Let's rewind to January 16, 2025. This was New Glenn's maiden flight. The rocket performed beautifully, delivering its test payload to orbit without issue. But when the 188-foot first-stage booster, taller than a 20-story building, attempted to land on the ship called Jacklyn, named after Bezos' mother, the engines did not reignite properly. The booster veered off course. Blue Origin called the mission a success anyway because the primary payload made it to orbit, but everyone knew the truth. In the new space age, reusability is not optional. It is essential. Without it, you cannot compete. So Blue Origin's engineers went back to work. 10 months. Not in the spotlight, not making headlines, just methodical, patient engineering. They redesigned the entire propellant system. They changed hardware, and they ran simulation after simulation. It is the Blue Origin way. Slow, deliberate. But when they are ready, they are really ready. That's why the November 13th launch was delayed by 4 days. Bad weather. Solar storms were so strong they painted auroras across the sky, as far south as Florida. NASA did not want solar radiation interfering with the spacecraft after launch. But finally, the weather cleared. At 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time, New Glenn thundered into the afternoon sky. 7 massive BE-4 engines, the same engines that will power United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket, roared to life with over 7 million pounds of thrust. The 321-foot rocket, twice the height of the Statue of Liberty, climbed through Florida's blue skies on a pillar of fire. 3 minutes after liftoff. Main engine cutoff. Stage separation. The second stage continued on, carrying NASA's twin Mars orbiters toward a holding pattern at Lagrange Point 2, about 930,000 miles from Earth. They will wait there until late 2026, when Earth and Mars align properly for the journey to the Red Planet. But all eyes were on the first stage booster, nicknamed Never Tell Me the Odds. It began its descent. 3 engines fired to slow it down through re-entry. Then, at the critical moment, engine restart. The booster dropped through the atmosphere, guidance fins steering it toward a moving target 375 miles offshore in the Atlantic Ocean. 7 minutes after launch, one final engine burn. The booster drops. Closer, closer. Fire and smoke billow from the deck. And then, touchdown. The 188-foot, 20-story rocket booster stands perfectly vertical on a moving platform in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Blue Origin had done it. The control room erupted. Engineers who had spent 10 months perfecting this moment jumped from their seats. Bezos himself called it an incredible day for Blue Origin. For the first time ever, a company other than SpaceX had successfully landed an orbital-class rocket booster on a ship at sea. For those of you who remember Apollo 11, when Walter Cronkite took off his glasses and said "boy" as Armstrong touched down on the moon, This was our generation's version of that moment. Different technology, same American spirit of exploration. Now, some might ask, SpaceX has been doing this for years. What's the big deal? Here's what changed on November 13th. First, NASA now has real options. For the Artemis program, America's return to the moon, Blue Origin just proved they can deliver. Not someday, not in theory, right now. Second, this rocket was designed for humans from day one. Those 7 BE-4 engines were built with redundancy levels that meet NASA's strictest safety requirements. When American astronauts ride New Glenn to the moon, they will be flying on a system that has already proven it can land safely. The space race is not just back, it is safer, cheaper, and more competitive than ever before. As for those twin Mars orbiters, they are doing perfectly. By 2027, they will enter Martian orbit and begin the first ever coordinated dual spacecraft mission around another planet. Their goal is to understand how Mars transformed from a wet, potentially habitable world into the frozen desert we see today. But New Glenn's journey is just beginning. Blue Origin's next flight will carry the Mark 1 lunar lander, a test version of the spacecraft that will put astronauts back on the moon's surface. When will that launch happen? Nobody knows yet, but I will be tracking every development. If you want to follow this story with me, from the next New Glenn launch to the moment American astronauts step on lunar soil again, hit that subscribe button right now, because after November 13th, one thing is certain, the race to the moon just got a lot more interesting. Until next time, keep looking up.